Talk Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, back to the TIZZ Talk Podcast. I am your host, Chucktizz, and I do have some special guests on the line tonight. I got my boys from California. I got Canzo. I got motherfucking Pman Patty cakes, whatever you want to say. And I got Hunter on the line. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Yeah, Taylor, what's up?
Oh, man, I'm just got done grinding all day and just trying to this is my therapy. I'm trying to be therapeutical. I need to talk into the microphone, you know?
Well, the weather over here in California is pretty good. How's the weather over there in Houston?
It's actually not bad. It was like 70 degrees, like a couple clouds in the sky. It's fucking great. I walked to work today, you know, and it's all great.
Living the dream.
Surf was good over here this morning. Shaved a couple boards and
surf was shit
paddled
here.
out real quick. And man, it was super fun. And
where'd you surf at, Canzo?
We were surfing north side of the pier in San Clemente.
Oh, nice. You get some barrels or airs?
I was surfing with Pman's son. We were doing some coaching, and he was doing some. Some good turns on,
all right.
Good turns on his front end over here.
Nice. Well, TIZZ fam, for all you guys who don't know, so just to give some background story here, me and the Canzo man over here, I've known him his whole life, and he's known me his whole life. He's a little younger than I am, but you know, this dude is like the king when it comes from any guy who came from Texas as far as a surfer. Like he's undeniably the undisputed Texas champ, and he's also taking it to California.
Thank you, sir.
and he's crushing it over here in California. Personal opinion, just growing up here watching people surf. He's definitely turning heads. He's definitely smashing locals, smashing the pros. Just shoot.
I think some of the locals just get a little jealous when they know of a dude that came from Texas that rips so much harder than him.
I've seen Kalohe, I've seen the Cola Pintos, I've seen everyone and whenever Cody goes, they turn around, they're looking to see what Cody's gonna do, and they pretty much know he's gonna blast a front side three or a backside. I
mean,
three.
Basically every time, lowers, uppers, cottons, it doesn't matter.
The big nasty ones.
Well, that's all I know how to do.
I told him when he's ready to hit the tour up, I'll manage him and we'll take him to the top.
Just make a brand and just get the Groms on the tour and teach him how to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, before I even get into that, real quick, TIZZ fam, just want to let you know the world population today is 7.857 billion people on the planet today, and it's continuously growing. We currently have, sorry guys, I just do this on a lot of my shows. I just got to let the people know. We currently have 2.8 million deaths of corona since it started, and it's fucked up, and it's the vaccines and all that. I don't know if any of you guys have been vaccinated. I have not.
Hell
no, sir. No,
okay.
sir.
I have not, but I know a lot of people who have, and especially my mother and people that probably should get vaccinated.
Is it really needed though?
I don't know, and that's why I'm not getting vaccinated until time goes by, and I just make sure y'all don't all turn into zombies.
Yeah, I just don't know why you'd want to get vaccinated when the FDA says it's still a test. It's still experimental. And if you get the vaccine and you die all of a sudden, your health insurance isn't going to go and,
die or turn into like a zombie.
Yeah.
Or some shit,
My grandpa just took that vaccine and now he's breaking out with like a rash all over his leg. Yeah, I just want to give it, 3 years maybe and just kind of see how it's going to affect the population and see how it's going to affect people that are taking it.
I'm not trying to be a zombie, dude.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure last December I had the worst sickness of my life, and so did everyone around me, and everyone kind of got really sick. And it was like kind of at that time when everyone was like, "Oh, COVID."
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we all kind of had it. We kind of had the vaccine already because we kind of already dealt with it.
I don't know. Well, here, I don't want to get too deep on Corona, but I'll tell you this, guys, real quick. And I said this on my last show. It started off as a problem, right? Yeah. And then it turned into an epidemic, which is a regional area of the planet where it's a problem. And then it turns into a pandemic. And of course, the U.S. got hit. the hardest because, everybody wants to make and fight about certain decisions, and that's just democracy, I guess. Whatever. I don't even call them Republicans and Democrats anymore. It's Crips and Blood, son. That's what it is.
TIZZ, you're right there.
But at the same time, but now they're calling it an endemic, and I'm like, well, what the fuck is an endemic? I had no fucking clue, and I looked into it, and an endemic is basically very similar to something like the flu. It's something that is not going anywhere anytime soon. You're going to probably have to have yearly vaccinations, just like a flu shot. That's what that's what they're projecting. They're calling it an endemic. If y'all didn't know that, you just learned something today.
If you didn't know that, now you know.
You didn't know? Now you know. But anyways, TIZZ fam, that's not the topic of the show.
Dude, yeah.
We just we just gotta spit facts for the peoples out there. But now the whole point of the show tonight is I got my boys from Cali out here, man. And honestly, I wish I was out there with you guys to be completely honest. I really do miss living out there and at least visiting and all that. I mean, it's just being in Houston's one thing. We have surf down here in Texas, but it's just not that great, but it can be good. Sometimes. And I think Canzo can vouch for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there and I've done that. That's why I moved out here. I got a little bit better waves, but I'm pretty sure Hunter can vouch for even better waves in Hawaii. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine. Actually, Hunter, I'd kind of like to hear. So, are you living in California or are you visiting right now?
So right now I'm currently living in San Clemente. I grew up on the Big Island of Hawaii, so it's a little bit of a change growing up, in the middle of an island where there's, just mountains everywhere and trees everywhere, going to San Clemente where it's just houses on houses on houses and just tons of people. So it's definitely a big change.
When did you move out here?
It was last year around June. I first moved up to.
Oh, you're a freshie.
Oh, I'm a freshie.
He's a
fresh off the plane. You guys can pretty
fresh off the plane, fresh off the boat, dude.
Fresh off the boat.
Straight up.
But yeah.
Okay, well then let me ask you. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know when I spoke to you on the phone, you told me how aggro it could be out there in the Big Island, and comparatively to how aggro it can be in SoCal, like what's the differences?
It's definitely different because growing up on the Big Island, there's not a lot of photographers. There's not a lot of big names out there. You got Shane Dorian, you got Rob Machado that comes out every once in a while, but
like Jamie O'Brien,
they're out there maybe once in the blue moon. But at the end of the day, you're surfing waves with 3 or 4 guys out every session. You can get waves to yourself every single season of the year. So
but you're speaking of the Big Island specifically.
Yeah, I born and raised on the Big Island of Hawaii.
So what part, if you don't mind me asking?
Kailua Kona.
Which side of the island
that would
is
be
that
on the west side?
The west side of the Big Island.
The west side of the Big Island, yeah.
Gotcha. I've never been to Hawaii. It's one of the places I have not been to yet.
You definitely need to go and check it out.
I've been to Oahu.
I mean, trust me. If I go, I'm calling you, motherfucker.
Go. Dude, I will give you an island experience, bro. I will show you the waves of the Big Island, bro. Everyone out there just ulua fishes, goes hunting, just kind of
fishing and everything. Fishing and everything.
That's what I'm talking about, fam. That's what I'm talking about. So are you enjoying your time in California comparatively to?
I am not planning on moving back to the Big Island.
So what is it that draws you to California so much more than staying on the Big Island? I'm just curious.
There's a lot more opportunities out here. There's a lot more to do,
business opportunities.
Business opportunities, meeting a lot more people every single day as you go, because there's so many people out here. When you're on an island with 120,000 people, maybe you meet people, and that's just kind of your crew. You know what I mean? You don't go.
Everyone tends to know everyone.
Everyone tends to know everyone. You kind of know, everyone kind of around. So it's small town vibes. There's just not much happening. So moving out here, a little kind of close to LA and whatnot. There's always something happening. There's always.
I mean, it's fucking SoCal, dude. I mean, basically from the border of Mexico all the way to Santa Barbara, it's nonstop city.
And a lot of the most grindy surfers come out of San Clemente and Huntington.
That's why I moved out from Texas and I came out here because there's a bigger opportunity and a bigger talent pool out here, and people
for sure. And Canzo, and I respect you for doing that, and I actually respect the fuck that you've actually gone out there and made a name for yourself, not only with your surfing, but like, you know, with Canzo surfboards, and we'll get into that. We will. I mean, like, this TIZZ fam, guys, this guy Canzo, this dude's off the chain. This guy's off the charts, legitimately. Like, put everybody in Texas to shame, and he's putting people in SoCal to shame. And
hey, but that always happens with surfing. You know, there's always some kookus out there doing something they should not be doing.
Yeah, that one time, dude, that dude who was talking shit at Strands, that guy sucked at surfing anyway, and he was sitting there talking shit, and I'm sitting there in the water just waiting for him to make a move. Like, I kept my distance. He made a move on you.
You know how George Canzoneri is out at Surfside, Texas.
Oh, you mean Surfer George?
Only, you know, learned after my dad and learned after what's going on.
Well, Surfer George, your father, is the only reason I even got on a surfboard.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So shout out to Surfer George. You know, the reason why I even know anything about this industry and why I even surf in the first place. And I got to say, guys, before we move on from, I want to talk about Texas for 2 seconds. You know, 2020 was probably one of the best years on record that we've had down here.
No way.
No shit. Oh yeah. No, with no doubt, no shit. Like, we had
you know what? There was a few days where I looked on the camera and
during the hurricane season. And down my Texas, God. And like during October, we had some of the best I'd ever seen. Man, it was just like an early cold front, and it was like 8 foot and just barreling right there at 91st Pier in Galveston.
Wow.
Yeah. Hopkins was out there. You know, the whole Hopkins crew was out there. G-Son, Gabe, you know, all those guys, they were all out there. It was an awesome experience. It wasn't too cold since it was the first cold front of the year, but you know, the winds were howling and it was just crazy offshores, but it was barreling. It was barreling, you know, it was one of those days. I wish I was in Gorda that day, but anyways, that's the Texas thing. So anyways, so Mr. Patty Cakes,
yes, sir.
What's going on in your life these days, man? I know the last time I saw you, I think in person was probably back in 2015, 2016. I don't know, but I know you were working on some apps, Pladio being one, and I know that we were just talking about another one you're running, and I know what you got going on. I think we're close to the same age. I'm 34. And
I'm 36.
So you're a little bit older. You're a couple years older, but me and you've always had that like business mentality.
Yeah, to
kind of be innovative, and I was very impressed by the Pladio thing. And I know you got a new thing coming out. If you want to talk about it, by all means, man, drop it.
No, awesome. No, it's awesome, Taylor. Yeah, it was a good times. I remember when you're out here, you're just surfing and eating good food and getting some good waves and just living the dream. So that was really fun. And at the same time, just doing our thing, talking about business, trying to figure out how to get ahead, dreaming big, trying to make everything possible, you know. So just that mentality to support the lifestyle. So
I think it's starting to happen, you know, with this whole podcast thing. At least what I'm doing, it seems like what you're doing is on point too. I'm not, you know,
I'm loving the podcast. I loving the also the even like that. I kind of like the interactive podcasts too, where people can like talk, and it's just a really cool outlet. It's amazing, like the topics and all the cool speech and all the cool things you talk about, and you can, like you said, you can say whatever you want, and you don't need to kind of watch what you're saying. But technology's gone so far, and just being in it the last 10 years and watching all these like products emerge and the technology happen, it's awesome. I'm really happy you're doing this.
I think we're only going to have a couple more years of this freedom of speech stuff online like this. I'll tell you the truth.
I mean, you know what? Who knows, man? Like I just said at the beginning, we're almost at 8 billion people on the planet, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and the scary thing about that, not to get off topic, but we go on tangents on this podcast.
No, that's cool.
You know, back in 1900, let's just call it 1890. I mean, there was only 1 billion people on the planet. I'm talking from the beginning of time. or at least to human record. To 1890, 1990, there was about 1 billion. Okay. Now let's fast forward 120 years, multiply that by 8. I mean, that's exponential, scary growth, guys.
It's crazy. No, and then by the next 10 years, supposed to be like even triple that, like 20 billion people. You know what I mean? So that's
I read a lot of things, and they're saying it will level off at some point because there's just not going to be enough food to feed that many people, and who knows? I mean, look, who knows? That's not the topic of the show, but I mean, it is a scary kind of statistic, though, if you think about it, though.
Oh, it's super. Everything's like a little bit scary, just to be honest. Just growing up in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, stuff. I don't know. To me, it's a little bit scary. It's like, holy mackerel. There's a lot of stuff going on just with even how life was before, where you could just like go to Blockbuster and like there's no cell phones. Like if you call your friend, he's not home. He's just not home. And then you have to jump on your bike and go to Billy's house, go to Sally's house, go look at the park. You're like, bro, where is this guy?
And dude, I out of everybody on this show, I think me and you can relate to that more than anybody because we're close to the same age. I mean, fuck. When I was like, I think I got my first cell phone when I was. Yeah, I think
outside and what you do for fun is you throw newspapers at cars that are driving by and running. You're just
exactly.
Eggs that
was that. We were on our bikes and just causing mayhem.
It was amazing. Those were the good old days. There's just like no cell phones recording everybody what they're doing and getting everybody in trouble. And
you can get away with anything.
I think all this information is horrible too. Like back in the 80s, 90s, my dad would say, I'd be like, hey, Dad, what is this? I'm like, and he'd be like, go look in the encyclopedia. And I'd be, it's not in the encyclopedia. It's like, well, then it doesn't exist. And
that's the truth, though. I mean, if you think about it, it was like back in the day before. I mean, I think I got my first cell phone when I was like 15, right? And I barely used it. And now it's like, back then it was like, if you wanted to know what was going on in the world, you had to turn on the TV at the evening news. Now it's like whenever anything happens, like instantaneously, it's on. It's you're getting a push notification to your phone.
Well, we already know about the news and what Q is doing, so it's all good.
I mean, we don't need to get into all that. I'm just saying,
it's just there's too many outlets now. There's too many opinions. It's like it's too stressful for the people right now. Like our brains were never meant to take in this much information. Like it's too stressful. Like people's heads are gonna start popping. It's like coffee's good for you. Coffee's bad for you. Water's bad for you. Like water's good for you. It's like, hey, why doesn't everyone make their fucking mind up? Like what the fuck is a real news?
Like I said,
coffee good for you?
Too many people,
or is it just bad for you? Like just tell me
people on the planet. But as I've been saying for the past, I don't know how many episodes.
Like what's the truth, bro? The carrot's good for you? No, but the carrot, if it comes out of the ground, is bad for you. So
is it organic or is it not organic?
So I don't know. It's all, we got to figure out like a place where it's like the real fucking truth is there, and like based off data, just one website. I don't know what we got to do.
But Patty. Here's the problem. The internet's so fucking just full of bullshit now. It's like even the mainstream media. I mean, you can't believe that shit. I mean, like take it as like a reference and use it as a baseline, but do your own fucking due diligence, fam. Like if you really want to know what's going on in the world, like do some fucking research. Don't rely on Fox News or CNN and to be your fucking guidance of what's going on in the world. Like, and don't get me wrong, the internet's just as fucked. But I mean,
most people nowadays, you get their information off Instagram.
Or Facebook or whatever.
Like, what is going on?
Fucking talk. Tickety-tockety, fuck TikTok.
Is that real?
I hate TikTok.
Twitter, Google too. Oh, the TikTok one is gnarly.
I fucking
that
hate
one's straight
TikTok.
Gnarly. Talk about.
I don't have a TikTok account and I'll never have one.
Dude,
I think it's absolutely fucking for children. And I see 50-year-old people on there doing TikTok.
It's the most stressful shit I've ever seen, to be honest with you.
It really is. It really is. And I'm glad we're talking about this, but that's not the point of this show. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of, to the TIZZ fam. And
everyone else.
It's the same thing at Instagram. Take like everyone, like I work in an office too. So I sit in a cubicle I like do my job, you know. It's okay to do your job while you follow your dreams, you know. It's like you don't just make it. You got to work hard.
What they say is, you know, fake it till you make it, right?
Damn right. That's about the damn truth right there.
You know what I mean? But no, but guys, listen, awesome tangent we just went on, and that's just for the TIZZ Talk fam to understand, and they know. But at the same time, the whole point of the show is like we are gonna dive in, TIZZ fam, and whether you don't like surfing or you like it or you want to know about it, this is going to be informative for you if you want to listen. If you don't, then tune the fuck out. I don't care. I really. And
it's more about the lifestyle too. So surfing's not just about surfing; it's about like being at the beach, like listening to reggae, like eating good food, drinking margarita.
Patty cakes. I really honestly I could not disagree with you that.
That's kind of what it's all about. So I think.
I just want to give a shout out.
Surfing's be able to travel around the whole world and like hang out at beaches, at nice hotels.
Yeah, 100%. It's not just a sport; it's a lifestyle, as they say, right? Or is that too cliche?
No, I think it's a lifestyle. There's so much to it. It's not just surfing. It's you get like bodyboard or body surf or like just swim. Like you're surfing if you're just swimming in the ocean.
Or you're that girl at the beach in a bikini looking
that's
fine
surfing.
as hell.
That's surfing right there. It's like
I mean, it really is though. It is a lifestyle. But I gotta I want to do a quick shout out. I got to shout out to my homie Jake, my homie Jakey boy. He hadn't been on the show before, but Patty, I know you know Jake, and he's a Houston native, and he's out there in San Clemente. Patty, I know you know him, and so shout out to Jakey. He's out there doing his thing, and I guess he's got into biking, you know, mountain biking a lot lately, and all that shit.
That's awesome. Mountain biking's super cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see what he's doing, and I keep up with him and all that, but I know that Patty, it's been me and you talking the most, but while I still have you before I move on, I would like to know about this super app.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I mean, we were talking about the social media
and
thing.
plug away, like give the link out. Like,
no, it's like I know we've been talking about the social media thing. So I built a hotel in Costa Rica when I was 19, and then I accomplished all my dreams. Just this kid from nowhere. I moved to Costa Rica, built a hotel, like did the surf tour down there, like married the most beautiful girl. Like I did all this stuff, accomplished all my dreams. Everyone said it was impossible. And then you just
what part of Costa Rica were you in, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
We were in Playa Hermosa, Jaco. So it's like one of the
so like like the most place I'm most familiar with other than Santa Teresa.
Yeah, so it was the best. It was just it collected the most swell of like anywhere in like Central America.
Oh, Hermosa is like the fucking I guess you can call it maybe the closest thing to Puerto Escondido of Costa Rica. I mean, I don't know.
It's amazing. It's like Porto, but I think like a quarter, like manageable Porto. So it never gets like scary Porto. It's maybe like a third of the size of Porto.
It still gets scary as shit, though.
I like to say it's like State Park in San Clemente, but on steroids. That's the best way.
I would say it's more like Pascuales in Mexico. Is more likely.
Okay, I haven't surfed there.
Okay, so I have, and it's very similar, but regardless of the fact, it's that sounds awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, it's an amazing trip. If anyone wants to go on a trip right now and is jonesing, like go down to Costa Rica. It's a rainy season's about to start. Central starts lighting up. Hermosa with the rainstorms, the sand starts getting fixed up. There's a amazing way, like 15 minutes south. There's little wedgers on high tide up on the beach. It's like shoulder high or bigger every day. If it's too big in Hermosa, there's like wedges up like an hour up north. There's other like reefs like 30 minutes up north. I mean, and then if it's a huge south, you can just go down to Pavones.
I was just about to say that. It's like, look, if Hermosa's closing out,
brother,
go surf Jaco, right? Or if you want to go surf somewhere really cool, go down to Dominical or go to fucking Pavones.
Oh, Pavones is just like I said, is you just on low tide. Everyone surfs on high tide. So if you wake up early and there's a huge swell, you go low tide and you'll just get some I've gotten like 5-6 barrels on one wave, ran all the way up to the beach, got another 5 barrel, like just drop in, bottom turn, hit the lip, fall back down, slide right in, get covered, come back out, just go up, hit the lip, drop back down, bottom turn, slide right in.
You know what you sound like right now. You sound like that dude on that YouTube video. Like, come up, hit the lip, whoopah, whoopah.
Well, Pman and TIZZ over here going off on a tangent.
We're gonna move on, but describe this app that you've created.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, shoot, I left Costa Rica to build the next big social network because I saw it was 2010. Zuckerberg became a billionaire. He's a month older than I was. And then I was like, shoot, like he figured out the way to connect the entire planet. And he could get 4 billion people on an application. Can you imagine if you'd put that in the wrong hands? Can you imagine if like a Hitler would own that, or like Jesus would own that, whatever, or like John Lennon would own it? It's like there's two like holy. It's a lot. It's like.
That's what's happening.
It's a lot to handle. So it's so I don't know. I just thought I wanted in 2010. I wanted to make one. I want to make the next big social network after Facebook.
So was that the Play-Doh play?
No. So the first one was my story. So there's been like 3 or 4 projects to get me to this point where I just failed and made mistakes, and then just like kept dusting myself off and just going like, okay, didn't work this time. What failed? Okay, I need to fix that. Or I need to go become a UX designer. I want to go study at the best school. I'm going to get into Stanford. I can't even get into Stanford, but I'm going to figure out a way to get in. So you move there in the summertime, and then as long as you're renting a place, you can enroll to Stanford and take courses. So I took a bunch of those good courses, learned everything, and then so the first one was My Story. Then it was My Story, raised money. It failed. Didn't go where we wanted to go because
what was My Story? Well, just give me a brief description of what it was.
That one was cool. So it was a social network to share your stories with the world in 26 languages with pictures, videos, text, and audio. And to me, I thought that was the future, like where we could tell our stories.
Yeah, I guess Google Translate took that shit over.
To sit there and like write a story, to read a story, I don't feel like the youth or the people have that. They don't have that patience anymore.
They don't at all.
So
they don't at all.
So that's what happened. So we ended up going back to UCI and learning how to code after 4 years of failing. And then that's what we learned from the students. We just set up demo days, and we had My Story because we won like an award at school. And then they're just like, all the kids were like, dude, no, we don't want to use this. It's like, no one wants to write. I just want to see photos, or like, what's the future? Like what's
So jump into Play-Doh, man. Cause I know that's when I first like met you.
So Play-Doh was awesome. So we failed My Story, and then we started Play-Doh. So it was a streaming entertainment application to like a streaming entertainment platform. So you could watch like all the videos you want. So I like surfing, I like snowboarding, but like, I mean, when I grew up, you put on surf videos and you watch surf videos for 6-7 hours. And then you're so fired up when you get to the ocean, you're just on cloud 9, you know?
Yeah, now I know how that feels. Yeah.
And that disappeared.
Yeah, but but bro, like I still check it. It's still live.
What do you, it's still live, the surf
No,
videos?
Play-Doh.
Oh.
Or at least the last time I checked it was.
It's not live. I think it's
okay. Well, then that must have been a while ago. But I just remember when
it got taken down.
When you showed it to me,
like
I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It's like, wow, I could just get on Play-Doh. I don't even have to find the surf videos. This is going to play the good ones for me.
I know, it's my favorite. So we're bringing it. We're bringing it back. So we're bringing it back right now. So don't worry. It'll be 6 months. It's back. It's got a new name. I had a partner, and he just like he was a developer, he was a software engineer, so he would build the stuff, and then people like, oh, you need to fix these things, and he'd be like, oh, I don't want to fix them, they don't know what they're talking about, and I'd be like, bro, like I would invent it, and then I would like design it all, and then he would make it, and then I'd be like, bro, we need to keep fixing and adjusting. He's like, no, people don't know what they're talking about. And then he just stopped working on all this stuff, and I was like, bro, I lost like 6 years working with this guy. Where I was like, fuck, man. And then he shut all the projects down, spent 6 years building.
Yeah. We know who shut it all down, but it's it is what it is. And at the end of the day, it's time to, do what we want to do. And
no. And that's great. And dude, and Patty, dude, I honestly, I thought Play-Doh was, shit. I thought that was going to be the fuck going to the moon.
I know. That's why I almost threw up, bro. I was cool. Traumatized.
Look, you can either take that failure and just like live with it and like leave it, or move on and try and make it better.
So that's what I did. I was like,
right. And so that's what I want you to talk about. I want to hear about the super thing.
Yeah. So that's what we did. I said, you know what? I'm not going to depend on another developer. They've screwed me out of 500 grand. Like they've screwed me out of 3 projects where I should have made it already. And I went back. I'm like, I'm going to go back and learn how to code myself. So I just looked at these, like, how do I learn how to code quick? Like I have 4 kids by this time. I have 4 kids. I'm like working, supporting all the kids. I'm like, how am I going to build this without paying $150 an hour to developers? It's going to cost me $1 million to build this thing. So I learned, I'm going to go learn how to code. That's the next step. Next step is go to code. So I looked up online and I found these classes, like learn how to code in a year at UCI. So I went I went there, 15 grand. They teach you all the basics of coding, but from there you got to like really push yourself after that. And then you can build anything. And then I did the one at UCI. You can find the best university in your town or area. And they have these, like, they're called like Harvard continuing education, UCI continuing education. And then you can sign up to these classes, and like in a year you learn how to code or do like data science or like security or all these things for like apps and software. So I met my partner there. We were putting a project together. At first I was like, oh dude, I want to be like all these cool kids, and he was kind of quiet. So I was like, oh man, it's me and him. And then I was going to like leave class and just go surf. I'm like, oh, I'm over it. I don't want to do this project. And then we ended up doing the project together. We built my story in class, and then we won like first place. And then we ended up becoming best friends. And we've been working together for the last 4 years, building this new social network that we started after we graduated.
Drop it.
All right. So it's cool. It's a new social. It's an alternative to Instagram and TikTok. But it's here from California, and then we're not doing anything with the privacy. We're doing where you sign in with your phone number, so everyone gets one account, so you can't have people harassing people, and you can't have people like being weird, because if we shut them off, they're just off. You know, if they're doing like whatever, if they're harassing people or doing whatever, because that was a big thing.
Let me ask you, like, what's the benefit to it?
It's a brand new social network alternative to Instagram and TikTok. It's just a brand new. It's more
like for like a closer circle of people, in a sense.
No, it's more for like it's like about the good stuff of life. So it's more like targeted. Like we have channels that we're putting in, and it's about like surfing, snowboarding. Like if you look at the app right now and you scroll through, it's like girls at the beach, guys surfing, like people playing like sports or playing music, or it's like just a super good vibe, like full screen, like not too many words, just like something you can just sit back and like look at the photos, scroll, like post awesome things.
In my opinion, it would be better than Instagram for sure. It's a better alternative than Instagram.
Well, I'll say it's very hard to compete with Instagram, but at the same time, like I dig it. I love it. I love it. It's just, you know.
Wait. Every single 3 photos I scroll down on Instagram, I see an ad.
Yeah, I mean that's the new thing they're doing there, man. They're just trying to make as much profit as possible.
That's lame. They're doing that to my 11-year-old son. My son's on Instagram, and every 3 photos are feeding him an ad.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I don't even really get on Instagram anymore. And when I get on, I'm getting fed an ad, and I'm like, this sucks. Yeah, as any of you who follow me notice, I don't post shit. And when I do, it's just when I'm dropping a podcast.
I don't post anything either anymore. I used to, but then they've messed up the algorithm. So now you get like 15 likes, and then you just makes me feel like crap, like a moron.
Patty, dude, I could give a fuck about how many likes I get about anything. Like,
I know, but the kids, bro, think about the kids.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they like. That's part of their life. I get it. And that's where the world has gone these days. And it's kind of weird, but at the same time, like, it is what it is. And, but you know, I got to say, like, it's awesome that you have stayed on track, because I'm a businessman myself, and you never fail unless you give up, right? So you fail and pick it up and try something else. Like you're not a failure. And sometimes it takes 5 times to fail. It doesn't matter. That's just the way the world turns. I mean, and in the business world, you're not always going to be successful the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time, you know. But as long as you have that strength to keep going, then you're gonna eventually make it, you know?
Yeah. I think that was the best. It's just funny you said that, because I've been saying that to like all the kids the last like 2 weeks. Like, hey, bro, you never fail until you quit. It's like investing, like in cryptocurrency. Like 2 years ago, like, all right, we bought it at 21 cents and it dropped to 10 cents.
Oh, you want to get into fucking stock talk, man? Like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's like you never fail until you quit. So you don't ever lose money until you sell, sort of shit, you know?
Oh, no. I know. I don't really fuck with crypto. I'm an option trading loser. Okay. Except today, I actually did very well. But that's not the point. But no. Plug it away.
It's just simple. It's just on iOS and Android. It's super SUPER period. And then you search it up in there. You can just go to LLLsuperLLL.com to the website right now. And
TIZZ fam, I'll drop a link. TIZZ fam, I'm going to drop a link in the description.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So like I said, we just want to make it better. We want to make it safe. We want to make it healthy. We want to put it in our hands. It's like that movie, like Ready Player One, when you could get in the wrong guy's hands, like that gnarly guy, or we can take it back, bro. Just all of us in the van. And just like it's a team effort. Like we need to change the world. We're about to put this thing in 7 different 7 countries around the world. We're about to blow this.
I love the fucking energy. You know what? Like this is a team effort, and I think we're a team right here. And dude, plug away. I'll make sure I get your thing. I'll put your link out there for sure. No problem. No worries. But I think it's time to move on to the next segment of the evening. I mean, I know all about the surf world, and I know what's going on with this wave pool shit, okay? And the only reason I say I know that is because I have a house in Waco that's 10 minutes from the BSR surf park. And those who don't know what I'm talking about, TIZZ fam, it's a wave pool in the middle of Waco, Texas. That's probably the best one there is, in my opinion.
It's the best.
It's very expensive. I want to go there
so bad.
But it's so bad. It's amazing. It really is. And I just want to get your guys' perspective on, you know, what do you think about this? I mean, it's like, you know, these guys are doing backflips and shit. And it's like, you know, it's changing the surfing world. So Patty Cakes, Pman. So let me ask you real quick. Let me get your opinion on the, you know, the whole situation on the, you know, the wave pools, the whole, you know, BSR or, you know, Kelly Slater wave pool, and the whole thing that's going on with the industry. Since me and you were both kind of the same age, you know, we grew up in the same era, and the whole perspective on how we grew up watching the surf world. And I think you might have a different perspective on it from me, since you grew up in California, right? You did? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And me growing up in Texas, and me being in Texas, like idolizing the California kids and really realizing, like, what am I idolizing these people for? Like, we were all so young, it didn't matter anyways, you know?
Exactly.
But I just want to get your perspective on it, you know, growing up in California and seeing like the whole, you know, competitive fleet of people come and go, especially like SoCal, San Clemente and all that. And what you think about this whole new generation and the whole, you know, apocalypse of surf pools coming on the scene.
Shoot. So just, I guess, I think I'm really grateful to grow up surfing when I did. I think I was 13. I was walking on San Clemente Pier, and I saw who, I didn't know who it was at the time, but it was Chris Ward pumping down the line, and then he just goes up to the lip and throws a big old 3. And I was walking with my dad, and I'm like, hey, Dad, I want to do that. And he was just kind of like, all right, well, if you save up for a wetsuit, if you save up for a board, I'll buy you a wetsuit. And we went to the swap meet that weekend, and some guy was selling an old Ron John surfboard for $100. I had $20 in my pocket. And I said, please, sir, sell me this board. I really want to surf, and my dad will buy me a wetsuit. So the guy was like, all right, took my $20, gave me my Ron John, and it was over ever since. I just like fell in love with surfing, and all I wanted to do was surf every single day. So that's kind of how I started surfing. I just started paddling out there, learning how to do it myself. We didn't have coaches or people teaching us back then. It was just, you just paddle out and you just try to catch a wave and you just watch people that were good and try to copy what they do. And luckily we had surf videos back then, which is probably one of the things I miss most in the whole surfing culture. Is I miss just throwing on a VHS or throwing on a DVD and just like watching your favorite surfers just shred for
those
an hour.
were the days though, Patty. I can totally relate to you on that. I really can.
Shoot. Like going to bed, like you're about to go to bed at night, and then you just throw on freaking Taj Burrow and he's just shredding, or you throw on like Loose Change or some of those classics like Loose Change,
those old Lost movies, like what's really going on, what's really going wrong, the decline, all that shit.
It was just so fun. It just gets you so pumped up. So you just be there in your bed, just shaking at night, like can't wait to go surf the next morning, and then you wake up in the morning, throw the video back on, and then just get super fired up and then go surf. And man, that's just
we take it for granted. Well, I don't want to say I take it too much for granted because I still have all those old videos and stuff saved, the VHSs and the DVDs. But it's like these days, it's like you just got to hop on YouTube and you got the new, like literally like a video that was dropped like 6 days ago. From the newest generation, like, HD, everything. It's like, you don't have to wait. There's no anticipation. You don't have that, that feeling of anticipating it. Like, and I think that was like a beautiful thing, not a beauty, but like a beautiful thing for us in our generation growing up. And I mean, I was living in Texas and man, I would go to school. I would go to high school. I'd come back. As soon as I got home, I'm throwing in a motherfucking whatever lost video I had. I mean, it didn't matter. And I was just amping myself up to just get in my mom's car and go fucking surf shitty waves the next day.
Dang. That's amazing. And I think that was like a universal thing. So I would travel a lot growing up to like Mexico, and I'd be in this little tiny village and the people didn't have anything. There's like a tin shack. And I meet this super cool kid that with a broken board, like, come have dinner, like lunch at my house after we surf. And then we'd go to his house, his little tin shack, and he had his little crappy TV. And then he'd have his surf video, his one surf video, and he'd put it in, and we would just sit there and watch it. And it was like a universal stoke where we could just like get pumped up to go surf again. Like I know you could throw on YouTube, but I don't know. I'll put on YouTube and I'll put surfing, and I'll get like some old video I already saw, and then I'll get like 14 ads in between the video. And then I'll get another like random video, and it's like, it's just not consistent. Like when I put in Loose Change, I know I'm going to see Rob Machado. I know I'm going to see Slater. I know I'm going to see freaking Chris Malloy. I know what I'm going to see, but with like YouTube, you don't really, and then you get bombarded with ads, which is the other part that kills it for me. I'm just like, oh, how do you get pumped up when you're watching these guys shred? And then some like vitamin commercial comes on for like, I don't know, for something weird. And so I do miss it, and there was something to be said for DVDs and videos and all that stuff.
For the not our generation, but it was like the minds of our generation trying to feed the younger generation the way we grew up watching and getting stoked on surf videos, and like having to avoid these ads and these YouTube fucking commercials and stuff. But jeez. I think maybe
talk about a buzzkill.
Not to get ahead of myself, but maybe it was a little bit ahead of its time, because honestly, I thought the idea was genius, and I know it's taking a backtrack, but I think it's on the up and up, or it's on the up and up around the corner.
It's coming. We actually just finished the channels this last week, and for our new version of Play-Doh called Super, and we just finished channels. We got to tighten it up. Then we're going to go out to all the big brands and have them put their real-time content in there. And we're just going to get away from the ads. I feel like ads it's not good for people.
They're bad for people, but good for business, right? So let me ask you, how do you do that?
Simple. It's super simple. It's just people love to buy. They just don't like to be sold. Like I'll watch freaking Red Bull commercials all day, but I don't want to see a Red Bull ad.
Yeah.
So I think it's to be able to, you don't sell the product, you got to sell the lifestyle.
And as we said, surfing is a lifestyle.
Yeah. So that's how those surf videos were. they'd make the surf video, but then they were sponsored by these companies, but they wouldn't have an ad of Quicksilver. It would just have Slater just going mental on a wave with a huge Quicksilver logo on the back of his wetsuit. And you're like, dang, I need that wetsuit.
Man, it's great. It's so crazy to sit here and talk to someone who honestly can relate to like the way I feel about the quote unquote old days of surfing. Now, when I say the old days of surfing, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it wasn't the old days of surfing. It was still new gen. And the new gen went from, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago to like to the fucking moon. It's like, you know, it's on a whole nother planet right now. It really is. It's insane. Yeah. The crazy thing is fucking Slater, you know, Slate Dog, Kelly Slater is out there still doing this shit. He's got to be 54. I mean, he's got to be 52, 53, 54. I don't know his age, TIZZ fam, I don't. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, dude, that guy is obviously the motherfucking GOAT, the GOAT, to be his age and still compete with these guys who are like in their 20s from Brazil on the tour. It's insane. I mean, what do you think about that, Patty Cakes?
I want to start off with apologizing to Slater because we did get in a fight a few years back. So I do want to take this time to apologize to him.
Wait, and if you don't mind, before you jump in, what happened there?
True. I just got bummed out. I got bummed out. Like, he makes this wave pool, and he invites like everyone except like normal people. You know, it's kind of like he made this wave pool that everyone's been waiting for their whole lives, and then he just starts inviting everyone and posting on Instagram, and it's only it was just like it was like a club that no one was like allowed to be in. And I just felt like that's what was wrong with the world. Like nowadays, it's just like that exclusivity where everyone's excluded from things and no one's like comes together and no one like, to me, it was really sad. It was just knowing I was watching this perfect wave that I could never surf unless like Slater invited me.
Club Neverland.
Or unless I kissed so much ass that like, yeah, so it was just I don't know. I just felt like that wasn't cool, especially during like these times. I just felt like it was not cool. It wasn't that cool to be like, oh, it felt like he was like, it was like there was no cake. Like the whole world ended, and there was like he had like the last cake maker, and he made this huge cake, and he was like eating it on social media and inviting his friends to eat it, and all you could do is just sit there and watch. He
married the world, and he just took the piece of cake for himself.
Yeah, and I don't know, it just reminded me of like all the bullies in life, you know, just like, dang, man, it's like there's just no like not even he left no hope, you know, like it wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna do a contest every month and invite a random person, you know, or I'm making a prototype and I'm gonna put these around the whole world so the whole world can enjoy it. Like it was just no hope. It was just like you just had to watch this perfect wave and just everyone surf it that wasn't you, that just was like Slater certified.
And that was like a good point.
Only like if you weren't cool enough, you couldn't surf it. And I was like, that's the problem with surfing. I think that's why surfing like went down the drain. Like watching surfing like blowing up through the 90s to I feel like it's just like it just died.
I think
like surfing
here,
died.
I'm not cutting you off. I'm sorry. I just want to say
no worries.
I think it's the vision is taken from different perspectives. Like you have what we grew up watching surfing, right? And Kelly Slater was a part of that movement, you know? And then you see what's going on now, and Kelly Slater is still a part of that movement, you know? So it's hard. It's kind of like watching, I don't know the best way to describe it, but it's like, you know, having like a brother or, you know, who just excelled at everything. But, you know, that maybe this isn't the best way to say it, but, you know, it's like having a brother that excelled better than you at everything that you did. And you were like close to the same age, and he was better at you when you were a kid, and he maybe not better than you, but he excelled more than you did when you were a kid, and he still is excelling more than you did and being more innovative from a surfing perspective. And here's where I got to kind of separate it to a business perspective. in the long run. And dude, don't get me wrong. I remember when I was like, shit, dude, I think I was 15, 14. I mean, I must have been fresh in high school, and I was just sitting there waiting for these guys to open this wave pool that they were supposedly start to open in Galveston here in Texas. And dude, they were talking about it. And this is back in the day when there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was none of this shit. I mean, it was word of mouth, and you just had to know the website, and it was the thing. I mean, they were literally talking about doing this, and I just, I was in that underground surf world, the Texas underground surf world, and Canzo, whenever he joins back, I mean, he can talk about this, but all I'm saying is like that was a thing, and it's crazy now to think about it. It's like, wow. I mean, these days you could be my age or your age, in your 30s, you could be in your fucking 20s. I don't care. You've never surfed in your life, and you literally get on YouTube or any of these social media outlets, and you see these guys doing backflips in wave pools, and it's like a skate park to these guys, and it just takes, it's cool. Yeah, it's all that. But at the same time, I mean, amazing. Honestly, patty cakes, bro, it takes away the whole lifestyle perspective of what we were talking about earlier. Like the entire lifestyle perspective of the surfing world that we used to fucking basically not give a shit about what was going on around us. It was like, like this is our life. Like this is what we want to do. And it was just a different thing. And now it's just been so transferred and so like just commingled with this whole new surf park, like magazine shit. It's just not the same thing. It's just not the same surf world that I'm used to. It's disappointing. I love the progression. I love it. At the same time, it's just not what I grew up with enjoying, and I don't enjoy this shit as much as I used to when I was, a little bit younger.
A kid. I kind of agree too. I mean, I kind of lost like my whole, I was like surfing was my life, and I think I kind of lost like a huge piece of surfing kind of died for me, like when Andy Irons died.
I can definitely understand
like when Andy passed away. When Andy, I was lucky enough, I got to hang out with Andy.
Rest in peace to the fucking legend. He died.
Away.
I think he died in like November of 2010. So it's been about 10 plus years now.
I know, man. It was so sad. So actually, I got to hang out with him for a week down in Costa Rica. We were surfing this awesome wave that I probably can't say.
Don't plug the secret spots.
So it was just so cool. I remember we pulled up and we were like with Jim Hogan, and we showed up and Andy was right there. Like we pulled up next to Andy, and we're just like, what the hell? It's like, it's Andy. And then he was just like the coolest guy I ever met, man. Just the realest, coolest, just like, I mean, I was probably like 25 or something, 26, and just like couldn't believe it. And he was like, what's up, boys? And like, what's your names? And then we like ended up just like hanging out and like riding back with him, and he was just so real. He was so cool. Like we ended up going out with them and eating dinner and like going to the club, and just like,
I think that was the coolest part about Andy's.
We spent the whole week with him.
And even though I never like really chilled with him personally, my buddy who lived down in Jaco down in Costa Rica, he ran a bunch of nightclubs, and Andy would go down there before he passed, and he was just like, he had that same mentality, I think, that me and you did, or that me and you do, as far as the way we grew up with surfing. I mean, he was like an 80s 90s baby, and he was just at the top of his game, and he just got over, he got sucked in. And don't get me wrong, if I was not gonna lie, if I was in his position, I could have easily got sucked into where he was sucked in. And I don't know all the stipulations and facts to what exactly happened, but I know that he was going through some rough times. And I know his brother Bruce, I've surfed with him before. Okay, I know Bruce. Yeah, Bruce,
another legend.
Bruce Irons, man. Shout out to the homie up in Hawaii, brother.
Darn it.
Got to get him on the show here soon. I'm sure he'll be down.
Man, he's the man.
I'll have to shoot him a text.
Those are just like my heroes. I think when your hero's just gone, you just like shoot, just like I actually cried. Like when I heard it, I didn't believe it. I was like, no. And I was just pumped. So I hung out with him for a week. So I was like, oh, I can't wait to see Andy again. And like, he's going to know me. He's gonna be like, what's up, Pat? Just because we had such a good time. We got such good barrels and just like lived the dream. And then I just heard someone's like, Andy passed away. I'm like, no, he didn't.
Yeah,
like,
it was like
invincible.
surreal. Like it didn't feel like it was a real, like when I was told that shit, you know, like I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, no way. Like, no, that's a fucking cartoon.
There's no way.
No way.
I remember like,
shit.
It was like my father-in-law called. I was like, "Your Andy Irons passed away," and I was like, "No, dude, I was just with him like last month. He just didn't pass away."
But
like,
you know, he changed.
I didn't think he knew about surfing. He was just the best. He's like to this day, like the way he surfed big waves and small waves, and his style. Like his style was like for me, surfing died.
It did die.
Like, surfing to me died. Right. Just because I knew that I could never see him surf a wave, like. He was like the greatest artist that ever lived, and he would never paint another painting. And like I never watched contests again after that until just like recently I started kind of getting into it a little bit. But it's just without him in the contest, without Bruce in the contest, I was just like, there's no point in watching the contest for me. It's just like, dang, the realest motherfucker
it's
is not
a lot.
And like who do I want to watch? Like I would only watch contests to watch Andy to see what he was gonna do, to see his style, to feel his like energy. You know,
it's
like
tough,
man.
And it's funny. I think me and you can relate to this more than a lot of the younger peeps out there who we talked to, because you know, Andy was a big part of me growing up in the surfing world, and then you know him and like you know Corey Lopez and Shay and like the whole Lost team and like Chris Ward and like you know Shane Dorian, Shane Beshett. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, those are like the idols that I grew up watching, but like the guys that were still young and still just killing it. I mean, it was Andy, Bruce. I mean, Kelly was up there, but Kelly was still just always killing it. You know, he's always been at the top, but it was like you always had these like fluctuations of groups. But like at that time, like when I first got into it, like the grungy crowd, it was the whole Andy, Corey Lopez, Chris Ward, you know, like the Lost guy. You know, it was just like that was what I was attracted to. Ever. It wasn't just the surfing. Don't get me wrong.
Me too.
The surfing was one thing.
And still like the most underrated surfer of
all time. Chris Ward, shout out Wargo.
Best surfer of all time. Like the best surfer on the
I agree,
today.
Man. Shout out to the homie like, fucking Chris Ward. Yeah. Straight up a San Clemente local, you know, but also a fucking Galveston, Texas native, like that was born in Galveston, Texas, like where I'm from. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know that, Patty?
Dude, I actually did know that, but I did know that. I knew it, but I didn't really pay attention to it till
I mean, like I haven't chilled with Wardo since 09, 10, whatever. But he's from Galveston, and that's where I surf. That's where that's 45 minutes from my front door. I mean, that motherfucker grew up surfing down here and moved out to Cali, I think back in oh shit. Hey, Canzo's calling me. Hey, what up, dude?
Yo, dude, my bad.
You're good. Hey, if you want to hop on, click that link. Me and Patty are running the pod right now.
I'm down here at the beach. It's just kind of loud right now.
Okay, that's cool. Me and him are just chopping it up. We're not talking about like Canzo. We're just talking about some surfing bullshit. But if you want to hop on, just he's just like, all right, man. Anyways, so yeah, Wardo, man, like shout out to the homie Wardo, man. Like it's been a decade since I've seen him, but you know, Galveston legend, San Clemente fucking idol, San Clemente fucking king. Honestly, I grew up just idolizing this guy, and even like to this day, like it's funny. Before we started doing this talk, I went back and watched Patty Cakes. I don't know if you've seen this. It was like a lost video from like maybe it was like 8-9 years ago. It was like Here Today, Gone to Cabo, and it was Chris Ward, Mason Ho, and Matt King.
Mason Kinger. Shout out to Mason, bro.
Dude, Mason Ho's a man. Dude, it was Chris Ward.
Mason Ho's a fucking
dude.
coolest
Mason
kid
Ho's
I've
a
ever met in
beast.
my
I mean,
life.
that dude surfs like literally to this day. Like yesterday, he's like dropping in on fucking dry reef.
Most underrated surfer on the planet. Dude, that kid is the coolest human being alive.
I'll never forget the first time I met Mason. Like, I was like, it was 10 years ago. Me and him are like the same age. I think he's like 33, 34, and I'm 34. And I was chilling at a party in San Clemente, and I started playing this fucking jam. This rapper from Houston. His name's Devin the Dude. And he's a homie of mine, but he's done shit with Devin, Dr. Dre and all this. And I started playing this song. And this fucking dude comes up to me and he's just drunk as shit. Like grabbing, who put this song on? I was like, that was me, dude. First time I met Mason, dog. And
dude. He's the nicest guy.
He doesn't give a fuck about anything. He has no hateful bone in his body.
Like, I wish the whole world can be that nice. I wish everyone could be, bro. If the surf industry could all be like Mason, like it would be blown up. Like it'd be huge. Like everyone would love it
to the next level and just doesn't.
He just knows how to make people feel, bro.
Yeah, he's just a nice.
And he's just nice. He's just like what happened to like the one. It's just like what happened. Like he treats people how he wants to be treated. Like we all grew up like that. Like treat people how you want to be treated. I don't know where the fuck everyone.
I mean, the whole commercial.
Wrong. You know what I mean?
The whole commercial movement of surfing has definitely changed everything over the past decade. I mean, it really has. And it makes me happy to be able to sit here and chop it up with the homies and be like, remember the days back when we used to watch the Lost videos and that? Cause that's a lost feeling. That's a lost art. And not to be cliche when I say it's a lost this, lost that, but it really is like, lost enterprises. I mean, that really is a big reason that I was so attracted to surfing in the first place and why I stayed attracted. It was kind of like that, not being a rebel, even though Lost was very rebellious. It was just the entire mentality behind it and the lifestyle behind it. It's like, yeah, all my friends in high school, they went and played fucking basketball or football and all this, but I was that dude who just, surfed and made a name for himself and still was able to throw dope parties. And, I carried the Lost name with me in a sense. Like maybe it wasn't the Lost name, but I carried that mentality.
Yeah, of course. I think that was my favorite company. The first time I saw a Lost surfboard on the rack, shout out also to Drew Brophy, because his artwork on those boards were fucking insane. Yeah. I feel like, to be honest with you, is before you knew the boards were good, like you wanted a board just because his art was so amazing. I remember I didn't even know what Lost was, but I saw the sickest drawings that he did for like t-shirts and boards, and I was like, dang, I want that board. Because BYB, like Backyard Boards, was around back then. And then they were doing like cool artwork. And then Drew Brophy came and just like stomped out.
That was a big deal back then,
made, like,
in the 90s and early 2000s. Rebellious artwork on your board was like a statement. It wasn't just to be. I mean, it was a statement. That's what it was.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, like people that surf, they were kind of like considered like the
outcasts.
And like,
I mean, it was the jackass
guys who did drugs
group of
and
fucking
like
surfing.
Punk rock.
You know what I mean?
And my parents would always be like, or all the older people like, oh, they're like, if you surf, it's like my mom looked at it like it was bad. Like you're just like a part of the bad.
You better
crowd,
stay away from those fucking Lost Boys.
Yeah, or just from anyone, just at the pier. Just go down to the pier, and it's just like, everyone was just straight party, living the dream down there, just partying.
That's so crazy.
Not even really like
to hear you say that, because when I grew up, man, like, and I know we're close to the same age. Like when I was that age, like the Lost image, the Lost, that whole thing was like what I was dying to push here in Texas, and I pushed it to what I could, and it was what it was. But these days, I mean, Lost is probably one of the top 3 surfboard manufacturers these days. You got Channel Islands, you got JS. I mean, you got Hayden, and you got Lost. I mean, they're up there. They're up there. I don't even know where they stand when it comes to that, but they're definitely up there. I mean, they sponsor some of the best surfers on tour, or just in the world. I mean, they've done it, and shout out to Lost. I mean, for doing it. I mean, they definitely came out from a garage, and they're killing it. And shout out to Matt Bylos and Chris Ward, and all the homies from the '90s and the San Clemente crew. I mean, no hate whatsoever. TIZZ TALK Podcast is all about the fucking Lost crew, and respects everything about that entire movement. And to this day, I hold it down for the Lost, for that movement, to the day I die.
Yeah, no, it's so sick. And even like I said, Mike Riola with the clothes and the shops in Florida and the shops in Cali, and like kind of setting like and the way they set up like distribution around the world, and fly out there, shape a bunch of boards, stoke out a shitload of people. Timmy Patterson.
Yeah,
Cole.
Timmy Patterson. Shit, I didn't even think about TP, man.
Dang, Timmy's gnarly.
Yeah, Timmy Patterson was I thought was the biggest competition the Lost had back in the day, and it was like almost like they just merged at some point.
What stokes me out is like I was like lucky enough I got to work with Cole over at his shop for a while, just kind of trying to dial it in a little for him and just help him out. And I was like cleaning some stuff up, and I saw like Andy's board, Bruce's board, Wardo's board, like boards he made for Archie. Like he had these like older boards, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like Andy rode this board, and Bruce rode this board, like Cole and Timmy and all those guys were shaping boards for like these gnarly, all these gnarliest guys. And it was pretty awesome because those are the guys who are just like, damn, you're so gnarly. Like Pat O'Connell, he was
Pat O'Connell. Shout out to fucking what was it? The Endless Summer number 2. Pat O'Connell and Wingnut.
I might even watch that tonight.
Dude, honestly, that was like the first movie.
I might throw that shit on tonight.
Back in like '94 or something. I was probably like 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't even know how old I was, but all I know is I remember watching like the whole Endless Summer, number 2, and watching Pat O'Connell wing that. And it just got me so hyped on being just like the whole surf life and the whole lifestyle of living that shit,
What are you gonna say?
It's the TIZZ TALK Podcast. It's the TIZZ TALK Podcast.
Yeah, no, dude, it's the best movies ever. Like the best.
And you don't get that anymore. And I know we've harped on this, and we'll move on. But at the end of the day, TIZZ Talk fam, me and Pat are reminiscing here on some old shit. And at the same time, it's just like, we're just trying to bring up a point. And it's like, where is surfing at now? And where was it 20 years ago when I thought it was at its peak when I was in fucking high school? And like, shit, if you look at what I thought it was at the peak, like, 2000, 2001, it's like shit.
Dang, what about shout out to all of the old school shit like Jerry Lopez and all those Aussies, and like I still have we could rip this for fucking
we could rip this 10 days for fucking hours going back and forth. I mean, Tom Kittle, you got Tom Curran, I mean, you got Kelly Slater. We could go on and on.
We do a 10-day podcast of surfing,
and when we say 10 day, I mean that's 10 days straight. That's without a break.
That's 10 1-hour sessions. We'll tell you about surfing. We'll tell you a story about surfing.
Well, anyways,
we'll start talking about longboarding, mid-lengthing, shortboarding, bodyboarding, body surfing.
Yeah, I mean, we could bring the fucking we could bring the skimboarders in here, the wedge guys, Fucking, you can bring the fucking the guys from fucking Laguna Beach up in here and have them really talk.
All the catch surf guys, all the beater boards, make the beater world tour. Let's get all the world tours. Get just like I wanted to do a contest. My dream was to make a contest where it's like fucking anything. You could ride anything in the heat. That's like my dream. Like I need to do that. Like.
But gotta do that. Separated.
It's like it's a surf contest. We could ride a bodyboard, a shortboard, a mid length. It's just whoever.
That's so. Wins. So hold on, Patty Cake. So while we're talking about it, since we're on this topic,
right?
That's too separated, right? I mean, how do you win a competition?
You just fucking win, bro. You win. Like, you'll know if like some guy's going out there and doing like on a shortboard, he does like a 360 air, but then some guy like drops in, draws the gnarliest line on a log, pulls into a barrel, gets on the nose, spins the board around, and just like does a huge layback and just flips off the crowd. I'd be like, fuck, you won, buddy.
I think that's great, but at the same time, I feel like, isn't it sort of like
on a bodyboard? You go out there, like, you had friends that like, I grew up surfing with the bodyboarders, and they freaking would rip hard in the surfers. We paddle out, and everyone look at them all weird. Then my friend Mike Macron would just do a huge, like a 10-foot full three spin, and get barreled just deeper than anyone. Come out and do the biggest threes. And then I was just like, that's when I like respected other. I'm like, dude, he's surf. And then my friend Chucky in Costa Rica surfing this wedge, he did drop knee, and he could drop knee better than any surfer could surf. Like, I took pros there all the time. He just like the front side three on drop knee and boot, front side three, back side three. He would just call it like Babe Ruth. And just
let me ask you though. I mean, here's the only thing that I have that's like a rebuttal to that is when you're on a fucking, sponge or a bodyboard or, whatever, a skimboard / surfboard, whether you have the wedge or you're anywhere in Laguna or whatever. I mean, how can you compare them? They're a little different.
I don't care. That sounds fun. Would you not go to a contest where it was like
I would totally
when they say the king of the peak, the real king of the peak? Because then if you just watch surfing by itself, like shortboarding, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, it's like over and over and over, and you're like, all right, I got the point. I want to like see something.
They want it.
Like, I want to switch it up. I want to see a guy do a gnarly barrel air, and then I want to see someone just draw a gnarly line and like highline it and just lay it back. And then I want to see someone on a bodyboard just do freaking drop knee, or someone on a beater just big three, or do something crazy. I don't know.
You're trying to make it
Let's
spicy.
just do it. Man, spice this thing up. It was boring. It's like, all right, top turn, bottom turn, three. I got it. Got the point. And no, it's cool. I love it, but like, get some variety. It's like going to like I don't know. It's just like the best. It's like mixed martial arts, like all of it. It's not just like jujitsu. Dang, what if I made my own tour? I should make my own tour that's like the UFC, and it's like mixed martial arts, but for surfing. So you can ride anything. Just whoever wants to be the biggest beast in the water just wins the heat and gets the money.
Hey, man.
Like athletes.
I mean, that's kind of where the world of surfing has come to these days as far as competition goes. And since we're speaking on competition real quick, I just want to just bring this up real quick. I mean, I know that the WSL just had their first 2021 annual competition number 1, which was in Australia. I think it was on the East Coast. Yes, it was at it was the Newcastle Cup. And what's his name? I'm sorry. Italio Ferreira he got first place, and these Brazilians, man, they're either number 1 or number 2 or number 3. I mean, they're just killing it. It's either him or Gabriel Medina or fucking oh my God. Sorry, TIZZ fam. Sorry. What I'm getting at is this is like, man, it's like they're just crushing these these Brazilians, and Italia won.
Oh heck yeah, that's awesome
competition.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The next one's coming up soon.
I love it.
But it's still we're still in the Australian leg. It's just crazy, and I know they all. And the funny thing is, when they're not surfing on tour, they all reside in San Clemente, California. Is exactly where you live.
Actually, they don't.
Whoa! I'm sorry.
Don't
they
say
don't.
That out loud,
they're not
please.
from there, but don't they?
No. I'm saying it's just like, dang, just try to keep the lineups not too new.
But you know what I'm saying when I say that.
I'm just
like,
saying, yeah.
So they don't. Sorry, TIZZ fam.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
They're not from San Clemente, California, but they typically reside there in the summertime.
Of course, yeah. I don't worry about that. I was just kind of
it's okay. It's all good.
Like don't say San Clemente, because a lot of people are coming to San Clemente to surf, and then you're like, oh shoot, like lowers is getting super packed, and then freaking a few of the waves are getting packed, but it's not too bad. It's actually gotten like way better out in the lineup, and even for like lowers and stuff, and like how it was back in the day where it was like the older guys, you had to like have respect, otherwise like just like when you're younger you just couldn't go up to the peak, you know, you had to like work your way from the bottom, you know, and then the old guys would be like, no, you can't, like go back to the bottom, you know, like go back down there, and you kind of had to like earn your stripes, you know, like not getting nothing when you're young, and then just having like work and like work. It took like 4, 5, 6 years to work your way to the peak. And then now there's like all these like people, like they're just like throwing their kids in the peak. And then just like 10 years ago, like the whole sense of like respect in the lineup, just the kid, like drop off 30 kids at lowers, and then they're all just don't know the surf etiquette or like working your way. It's just their parents are like, oh, you need to be the best, and like just cut people off and just like get all the waves, and just like the sense of respect just died like 10 years ago. Just for like the hierarchy, you know, is like you're your grom, then you respect the older guy, and they respect the older guys. Is kind of just like the way of the jungle, and it kind of just mixed that all up. But good news is it's coming back. Like the kids are doing super good, like respecting like the elders, and like, you know what I mean, surfing the inside and the middle, and like and just having respect. So it's amazing.
So it's almost like a full circle thing to me when the way you explain it. It's like at first, yeah, like, you know, they come out there and like you know, they don't give a shit. But as soon as they start to really engulf themselves into the surfing world, especially like locally, and you know, they start to respect it a bit more, and it takes time. It's not like they're just gonna just do it over time, but you know, given the fact that surfing has taken off to the point that it's taken off, when you have these young kids and these groms and these young guys that, you know, when we were growing up, we're just little kids, and you know, they're doing their thing, and you know, more respect to them. But you know, it's the whole point of surfing and respect still is there. It's not going anywhere, and I get it. It feels like it might have been blurred, or in a sense not taken away, but just not recognized. And I feel like the respect is coming back in a sense. And maybe that's just me sitting here from the sideline, just viewing it. But I feel like, you know, it's been tough for the past 10 years. I mean, with the technology and everything that's going on, I mean, these younger guys can literally get on Surfline or whatever, and it's all right in front of them. I mean, they don't have to do anything. I mean, they can just see what the surf is doing. And I'm just comparing this to the way we grew up, you know? And so it goes back to the whole lifestyle thing. And it's like, what do you want to do? I mean, do you want to be a competitive surfer and do this whole thing? Or do you just, you know, do you want to live this lifestyle, or do you want to do your thing and still keep this lifestyle a part of your life and still do your thing on, you know, that's how I live my life. You know, I live in Texas, which the surf sucks. But, you know, when it's up, you know, I'm out there and I'm getting it, and, you know, I'm still stoked. And when it's not up, it is what it is. Like, you know, it just all goes back to the whole lifestyle of the whole thing. And that's what makes me happy at the end of the day. I think this is a great podcast for anybody from the TIZZ Talk. Yeah, the TIZZ Talk fam who doesn't know anything about this, never maybe was curious or just has questions. We'll answer them. But I think this is a great intro to the surfing world that most people who listen to my podcast are like, what the fuck? Like, we listen to the TIZZ Talk podcast. Like, this is not something that we're used to listening to. We're used to listening to some city boy talk shit, blah, blah, blah. But little did they know, patty cakes, little did they know.
Little did they know that we launched the freaking Ride Anything World Surf League tonight. And if anyone's interested in putting this together, I'm just kidding. Because that would be so fun. I'm telling you, like that's just kind of what I want to see as a customer and a client of watching all the videos and stuff. I don't know, a request I would have is like, shoot, I want to see some I kind of want to see it all, you know, just like whoever.
But it's your energy, though,
switch it up.
Your energy, man, it carries itself a long way, man. And like, honestly, brother, like I know we've known each other for like at least I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years now. But man, I gotta say, it's been a fucking pleasure to have you on the TIZZ Talk podcast. Like, it's been a pleasure. I love the energy.
Dang.
I love the stoke. I love the hype, man. Like, I love it. Like, it makes me, you amped me up. Like, I wasn't even like, I was kind of like bored and like, I'm like, fuck it, let's fucking do this shit, dog.
Yeah, you got me amped up too. I was like, shoot, let's do some podcasts. Let's have some fun. And you're just really good at it. I didn't even know what to expect. I've never done a podcast before. And then that was the first podcast I've ever done with you. And that was I had so much fun. I was like, damn, we had to have like a cool conversation and just talk about stuff. Just be real, be ourselves, talk about some knowledge.
But dude,
and,
hey man, Patty Cakes, I appreciate that, dog. I really do. Like, you got to realize I appreciate it to the bottom of my heart. I do.
And you're good at what you do. Yeah. You're good at what you do. Like I said, I've seen some Joe Rogan stuff, and then I was like, "Dang, this guy!"
Oh, you put me on Joe Rogan's level now.
I was like,
no.
True. Man, I don't know. It was just good.
No, it's all good, man.
So
like, and that means a lot to me. I appreciate that, man. And like, you know, I do this thing for fun. I really do. It's all for fun. But at the end of the day, like, it's also about me just doing what I can to spread the word and make sure everybody else is having fun at the same time. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, if we're not having fun, like, why the fuck am I doing this? You know?
Dang, that's the truth. You got to do you do your day-to-day job in the day, and then
exactly. I mean,
fun.
To be honest with you, to just say, harp on what you just said, I came home, I cooked a little bit of food, I poured myself a beer, and me and Patty Cakes over here, we started talking and we just started recording, and that's the TIZZ Talk podcast for you guys. So that is why we're live, and that's why we're
Amen
real.
to that.
So, you know.
Right on. All right, Austin Taylor. Well, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you for putting it together, and hope to do this again. I think there's a lot of cool topics we can
absolutely
have a
Patty,
good conversation about.
Don't get me wrong. This is just episode 1 of the surfing world of many, many more to come. And I make sure that you're going to be on the line. And don't get me wrong, I will be out there very soon to actually see you in person. You know what I mean? So, but regardless, in between that time and the time we actually chill, we'll post this. We'll get this thing up. I appreciate you being on the show. Do you have anything that you'd like to give your little farewell peace be with you to the TIZZ Talk family before we part ways tonight? Well, I guess Patty jumped off the line there real quick before he could give his peace out. But I just want to go ahead and say, TIZZ Talk fam, thank you so much for joining this episode of the TIZZ Talk podcast. You have your legal duties. Please go on Apple Podcast and rate us 5 stars. Smash that subscribe button, and on Spotify, by the way, guys. Please, it really does help. And you also need to at least tell 1 or at least 2 people, every time you listen to this show, about this show. And word of mouth spreads, and it really helps build this this show. And we just want to keep it going, guys. We want to keep it going, and anything helps, and it just makes the show better and better. So anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my peace out, as I always do. So guys, come on, as I always say, get your mind correct. And when you get your mind correct, keep your mind correct, because that's the hardest part. And as I always say, the TIZZ doesn't ask why. The TIZZ asks, why not? That's it for this episode of the TIZZ Talk podcast. We'll be back very soon with another classic episode. You guys, thank you for joining the show, and we'll see you next time.